It's Browns Ravens week once again. We remember how last year went, but I think this year could be just as good, if not better, of a game. Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi, Hey.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
All right, what's going on, good people? DJ here back again. Also, Adam as well. We're going to talk this Browns versus Ravens preview from a Ravens fan and a Browns fan in case this is your first time watching us. And I'm sure you'll be able to figure out which one is which. For those listening, DJ here is the Ravens fan. Adam there is the Browns fan, just in case you are listening and unfamiliar. But let's jump right into it with this week 12. I don't know why I want to skip all the way to week 13. But this week 12 matchup between the Browns and the Ravens, once again, another primetime game. The last primetime game was epic. Well, it was a lot of fun.
Game
a
of
little
the
more
year.
for me. A little more for me than it was for Adam, but still a good game. And I think we're coming from this from two different perspectives. I think not to say the Browns are like fighting for their season, but in a way they are. I think you said that. You feel like the Browns are in must-win mode right now, and it starts with this game.
Yeah, I mean, because what it boils down to it, I would say that the magic number, like from here on out, the magic number is 4, because that'll get you to 10 wins, and it may not be enough, but that certainly sets you up in a better position rather than being 9-8, or something like that. Like get to 10 wins, feel a little bit better if they can get to 11, but. We have you guys. We still have the Steelers again. We have you guys again after the bye for one. We have Sunday, the bye, you guys, then Oakland, Vegas, Green Bay, Steelers, Bengals. So, and believe it or not, I heard this earlier today. The level of difficulty in terms of scheduling. We have the hardest. You guys have the second hardest. So for both teams, so it's
That's
still
surprising,
major.
though.
Exactly. But I don't know how this stuff goes into effect and how they make the scheduling. But obviously, they knew whether it had been us or whatever the TV people, that is, whatever the TV people were thinking of what's going to be games of consequence the last half of the season, AFC North, and whether it be, pick whatever, the AFC West, NFC West, whatever, they really want those prime picking games, divisional prime picking games for the end of the year.
I think too, because I feel like they're probably basing the strength of schedule, as they often do, on the playoff teams from last year, which the Rams wouldn't be included in that. That may be why, because we have the Rams on our schedule. Y'all don't. Y'all have the Packers, and y'all have the Steelers, which I think we can all agree that don't get. And we also have the Steelers twice, but I think we can all kind of agree that the Steelers are very up and down, and more so down than they are up, because we have. So you guys, the Browns, then we got the Steelers, then we have the Browns again, then we have the Packers, then we have the Bengals, then we have the Rams, then we have the Steelers, which I think is a juggernaut of a schedule to end the season. Especially for a team as injured up as the Ravens are. I mean, I still feel like they can put it together. They can beat anybody, but that just depends on if they can do just that. But going into this game, I think all of these divisional games are just must-win games, because you just never know what you're going to do in terms of the Packers and the Rams in terms of the NFC games, because you just don't see those teams as much. But I think the teams you see, I think you got to go win them, especially from a Baltimore perspective. And it's going to be nice to have Lamar back, of course. The biggest part of our offense, um, literally and figuratively. Um, he's the biggest part of our offense in terms of what he does, and the biggest part of our offense, passing and rushing. I think it's going to be huge to have him back. I want to see if they make any adjustments run wise because I don't think the run game's been that great. I don't think Devontae Freeman is the answer long term, and I'm talking about long term for even the rest of the season. He's done well. He's good for like a couple of carries here and there, but as a feature guy, I just don't think it's there. I don't see them necessarily making a change at the position, but I feel like they probably should. Um, but I mean, coming into this game, when it comes to facing you guys, I think the biggest thing for me that I'm a little concerned about more than anything is pass rush, and also block shed ability too. But just the offensive line versus you guys' talent on the defensive end. You guys got talent, across the board when it comes to defense. Of course, you got Jadeveon Clowney. Of course, you got Myles Garrett. I'm sure I'm missing some people when it comes to you guys' defense, but I think that's my biggest thing is if this offensive line can play almost out of their minds in a way, if the offensive line can play kind of out of their minds and play some of their best football of the season, I think that's going to be that's going to be huge. Malik Jackson's good too, and you guys got Denzel Ward back, which is good. I didn't even realize Taki was okay. He's a linebacker. I'm tripping. I was like, when did he become a corner? But he was right beside the corner, so I was like, what is going on? But I think you guys defensively, you know, I think you guys got all the talent. Just putting it together is the biggest thing, and I hope that we can, whatever the weak points are, I hope that we can get after them. I think I'm not worried about us moving the ball per se. I just want us to start moving the ball in the first half. Start fast offensively. Start fast against this defense that can fly around. You got to start fast defensively. Limit the big plays. I want to see Baker go down the field for a 15 play, 12 play, 15 play drive, right? Instead of getting down the field in 2 plays or 4 plays. And like I said, offensively, we need some big plays too. We also need some plays that just get the offense going early. It don't have to, it can be a long drive as long as you can get a score out of it. Is my biggest thing. That's my biggest thing. My biggest takeaways right now is just like I think I think they can play well, but I think at the same time, I think people are starting to key in on the fact that the Ravens can't run the football without Lamar Jackson being the lead guy. So with that becoming now an issue, it's up to the coaches now to adjust and say, all right, let's try some different things. Let's try some different personnel and stuff like that. Like I said, I hope possibly Philip Lindsay could be on the table for a guy that they could bring in for a 1 year deal to go all in this year, especially given the injury situation, who's coming back next year. But at the same time, because they're signing corners, so I'm hoping they'll go after maybe the running back as well. Or, they could do the obvious choice and use the guy that's already on your roster and Tyson Williams, because that would make sense. But it just doesn't seem like that's in their plans, unfortunately. So I mean, I just want to see, I want to see a little bit more of a consistent game. I wouldn't even be mad if the Ravens lost this game if they were consistent. If the Ravens lost this game and they just kind of got outplayed, in terms of got outplayed by the last possession, I don't think I'd be mad about that. I will be more so upset about bad coaching. I will be upset about not executing more than anything. So I think that's my biggest thing. How you feeling over there in the Browns camp?
Well, and again, getting Conklin and Kareem back is huge, massive. Whatever adjective you want to use. Blake Hance has been fantastic in his role filling in for Jack. Now he's not natural. He's not a natural tackle. He's not a natural swing position guy. But this is where coaching comes into place. He's done great. I mean, I would obviously feel a lot more better if we still had Chris Hubbard, who is a legit swing guy who could play any spot on the line. But given the circumstances, if something happens to Jack, I feel good with Blake coming in. But having Kareem back, like I said, gives finally the second part of that 1-2 punch. Because the one thing that I would possibly say that the Ravens are looking at is looking at the tape of what the Cardinals did, what the Cardinals did, what the Steelers did, what the Bengals should have done. which is and what Detroit did, and what the Patriots did. You stack the box. You dare Baker to throw. It says like we are not going to get shellacked, and we're not going to get pushed around by the running backs. And that's the other thing they have to account for now is the play of Dearness Johnson, which in his role has been fantastic. He is not Nick Chubb, nor is he Kareem Hunt. We don't want him. We don't want him to be that, but he is more than capable of carrying the load if they decide for him to be the bell cow. But what Kareem brings, and this is where, again, I think that where the Ravens need to keep this in mind is that Kareem is insanely dangerous in the pass game. Insanely dangerous in the pass game. And everybody always says, well, why don't you put him and Chubb on the field at the same time? I'm like, I'm with you, but like sparingly. It would have to be like a real, goofy look where Kareem's in the backfield and you put Chubb out in the flat. Yeah, to go out for a pass. Which I do believe that I hope that they didn't give too much of a tell in that Detroit game. Chubb is an underrated pass catcher. I'm not saying he's the best, but he is very underrated, particularly in the screen game. But Kareem is phenomenal in like the little mesh, little stuff over the middle. He is perfect for getting in space and absorbing hits and extending plays with his legs because he's such a violent runner. But this is going to be the perfect complement of what Baker needs to alleviate, no pun intended, alleviate pressure. It's an option. This is where I want Demetric Felton to try to extend plays. But overall, because the one Achilles heel of the Ravens is in the passing game, which I know that you have been very familiar with as well. They are 31st in the league against the pass. Now, yes, that's because of injuries. No Marcus Peters. You're missing a gazillion important pieces in that secondary. I mean, look what happened in the Miami game. Those two big chunk plays towards the end of the game that's the deciding factor. That's the deciding factor because Tua didn't have to do much. Find the open guy and let your guy get into space and make a play. Now, yes, obviously, I'm hoping that happens, but Baker must connect on these throws. The one big X factor that I hope he's playing, I know right now he's kind of up in the air, is Donovan Peoples-Jones, because he's not Tyreek Hill, he's not Justin Jefferson, he's not any of these guys that are like the true legit burners, but he is the one guy that we can get we could go after on a little bit of separation because he's such a big body and he's a mixed match nightmare. This is the game where I want to see Njoku and Hooper start being the true downfield threats. Now, yes, Hooper's a little bit more got a little bit more of the stone hands lately, but I mean, I still love him. I still think that he is a threat. He's a good target for if it's 3rd and 7, he gets you 8 or 9 yards because of his massive frame. Njoku, I think, is our better true down the field threat. Just because, again, big body, he's a freak of nature and whatnot. But either way, given what I think that the Ravens are going to do, and given that their ineptness on the defense, that he has to be able to hit in the pass. Got to keep him honest still with Chubb and Hunt. I mean, that's your bread and butter. But you have to connect on these passes. You have to be able to throw the ball in this game. Defensively, aside from Miles, because again, Miles is going to be Miles. He's going to attract a lot of attention. This is where I need the Maliks and Clowney to really step up. Now, again, Clowney doesn't have to necessarily get a sack. I mean, that's been his one knock. But what Clowney does is a incredible run stuffer. And a lot of the stuff that they did against like Minnesota, where they were actually having Clowney almost like stand up and almost kind of shielding like he was going to bull rush, but he was clogging the middle, and the center and or the guard can't react to his quickness. So just really, it's really getting pressure, keeping containment, not freeing up the middle, don't over pursue, and I really need the linebackers to have a good game, particularly at the linebacker position. Because you had mentioned Taki. Taki's just going to be a heat-seeking missile. Not bad in coverage, blah blah blah. But this is like the game where like they really got to get things in line, whether it be Malcolm Smith or Anthony Walker. I hope it's Anthony Walker because he's the true Mike linebacker, and Taki is a good run stuffing Will. So you're going to have a lot of bodies flying around. But again, as I said in the picks, this needs to be the true breakout game. He had a good game. He had a great game in the year against Chicago, where he really kind of came out of a shell. But this is the game where I need JOK to have the game of his life because he needs to prove that this is why that we drafted you. Heat seeking missile is great on sideline to sideline speed, and that is going to be big to cut off the edge if Lamar breaks free, or whatever the case. And in big time, I'm going to see if the Browns really do their alternating back and forthness in the secondary, whether you have Denzel be on the outside and Greg Newsom come into the slot, or really get help from John Johnson, who's been now becoming more of a strong safety, which is more of his natural position instead of being the free safety, that's where Grant Delpit comes into play. But yeah, either way, like this is the game where like you can't let some of those I want to say unforced errors, but those breakdown in coverage like you did in that Monday night game. It was fun. It was a great game, but that was the sticking point that stuck with me after that game was if Denzel's in, I don't know if that play to Hollywood happens. Maybe he still gets the completion, but Denzel would have at least been in the proper position because everybody got sucked in the one way and Hollywood broke free. So it's just maintain discipline and please, for the love of God, cut down on the penalties.
And I think too, like kind of my last point when I think about it, from the Ravens' perspective, given the injuries, no excuses. I don't feel like in that regard, but given the injuries, be great in one area, be decent in another, right? So I would say be great offensively, be decent defensively, right? I mean, you've been decent defensively in certain moments. Actually, they've been actually great defensively. Like in most of the Dolphins game, they were great defensively. Most of the Chargers game, they were great defensively. So I'm saying like take that, be decent on defense. Don't give up big plays. Make the stops when you need to make stops, and be great offensively. So then that way, something's got to be great. One area has to be great. And I think you're going to benefit more from outscoring the Browns, as opposed to you are from trying to shut down the Browns. That's just me. But
yeah, and that my last point too is Browns, you got to be better on third downs, and that's on both sides of the ball. You need to extend drives, and you need to get off the field when the time comes. But this is the X factor. The Ravens are not that good on third down, but what they are excellent at is fourth down. That's been the deciding factor in a lot of things is because they're extending drives. That is belief, that is buy-in, that is the confidence that your guys are going to maintain the drive along the field. So we're kind of in the same boat in that regards, but it's just again eliminate the penalties, get off the field when it's time to make that play, the money down, get off the field when the time comes, and you got to get a couple of those drives where you extend drives that maybe you get a field goal or just set yourself up for success because this is one of those games where points are at a premium. So if you're in range, you're going to be seeing a lot of going forward on fourth and whatnot, even if it's kind of in a silly predicament, 4th and 5, 4th and 6, what have you. But you've got to make a play on money downs on either side of the ball.
definitely there should be I definitely think it's going to be good regardless.
Yes.
I think it's going to be close. Going to come down to the wire. Probably going to come down to the whole whoever has the ball last type of scenario. And I hope it's not y'all, given the way our defense is playing this year. That's just me. But should be fun. I'm definitely excited. So it'll be Sunday night football after all the. Well, I mean, you might still be on your last little bit of leftovers from Thanksgiving, but you might have one more plate left in you for the Sunday night game, but it definitely should be fun. I'm definitely excited for this one. Excited to be back on prime time. Hopefully, it's better than the last time we were on prime time. Anyway, um, as always, hope you guys enjoy. Appreciate Adam coming by. Um, you know, should be an exciting game. Um, if you got any comments that you want to leave in terms of who you think's going to win, how you think the teams are doing, feel free
No,
to
no,
let us.
sir, no, sir.
Uh, feel free to, and anybody watching as well, feel free to let us know. Um, but until next time, we'll see you on whatever that next one may be. Like I said before, have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy, family, friends, any of your peeps, anybody, any of your Christian cage peeps. Be sure to enjoy them, and be sure to just have a good holiday. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Until next time.